Україна.
Welcome to the X Global News Channel. Since the beginning of the war, we have been communicating with the military of both armies almost daily. After the news about Putin's telephone conversations with soldiers, we decided to ask the officers of the armed forces of Ukraine again to see what has changed since July. Among our interlocutors there are two brave soldiers of Ukraine. They gave us an interview where there are questions that everyone is interested in. Let's hear their opinion. Let's start with the artillery captain. He has been fighting since February 24th. How, in your opinion, is the war developing for Ukraine? It is difficult, but in general in our favor. Many good people have died and will die again. We are successfully solving our tasks. The shyness that was there at first has disappeared. We have accumulated experience, including experience in the use of modern weapons. We are coping. Why is the war developing this way? Because the enemy underestimated us, did not take us seriously. And I fucked up in the beginning, I couldn't do what I wanted. Because we surprised ourselves. Before the war, everyone was grinning at each other, and now we are trying to defeat the Russians together. Plus preparation. Our army now and in 2014 is the army of a healthy and sick person naturally. It's just possible to compare the actions of your own and the actions of the enemy. Here is skill and experience, there is a rush and stupidity. We also have it, but less than it was before and less than the Rashists. What is the purpose of this war? Liberate the entire territory of Ukraine. Here we joke about the BNR, Belgorod People's Republic, about, on Moscow. We don't need it. We will recapture our land, we will stand on the defensive, we will repel all attempts of a new invasion. They will. I'm sure. Russians consider us fascists of some kind, puppets, it's a shame for us to lose. They will climb until their power changes there or people run out. Until then, we will beat. From his own land. How has your attitude towards the war changed recently? There are fewer emotions and more things to do. Many friends died, suffered. The rage that was there at first is gone. Now it's just determination and anger. For the cold and dark cities, for everything I see here every day. It's strange, but it's easier for me. I know why I'm doing this, I know that I know how to fight and do my job. There was excitement. When it is backed up by skill, then all military hardships are easier to bear. Do you have a desire to leave the war zone, leave the army, or even change sides? No, I'll leave her when the fighting is over. How do you explain to your subordinates what they are fighting for? No one asks such a question in our country. There are questions about combat work. Everyone understands everything about motivation. We could not imagine that we would have to defend our homes. Had to. I have been living with this with the ATO since 2014. Guys, since February. Movies were filmed and books were written about such a war. It is understandable. And I am glad that I am contributing to this war. Has your attitude to the command, to the president of the country changed since February? Yes. I see now that the president is in his place. He doesn't bother us, trusts us to do our job. Copes with his own. With the command, everything happens, but, in general, trust has also grown. It is difficult for someone to stay with us now, who just takes a place. There are such in the headquarters, there are in Kiev, but there are few of them. We have competent officers who are not about parades and not about stealing and selling. The army has become younger, the command staff is 28 to 40 years old. We speak the same language. The distrust disappeared. Personally with me. I won't speak for everyone. If the war ends in defeat for the Russian Federation, what will you do next? If it ends in defeat for Ukraine? For us, it will end in victory. The only question is when this victory will come and what it will be expressed in. I'll stay in the army. With such a neighbor, I will still be useful to my country. Now an interview with the captain of the APU. Intelligence Commander, Airborne Assault Brigade. He has been fighting since February 24th. How, in your opinion, is the war developing for Ukraine? Better than we could have guessed on February 24th and even March 1st. We know what we're doing. We understand how events will develop further. I am glad that there are many options for such a development, you just need to choose the right one. Why is the war developing this way? Because we have better soldiers, better officers, better weapons, higher motivation. When Russia attacked us, it hoped that everything would collapse quickly, that we would not be able to become a single force, one people. It turned out that she only helped us in this. The army received support from everyone, all the doubts that were before the war were gone. There are more people in command posts who really know how to fight and love their job. He loves not war, but military affairs, to solve problems with maximum losses for the enemy and minimal for himself. It affected. What is the purpose of this war? Complete liberation of the entire territory of Ukraine. Subsequent protection of our territory. If this requires strikes on the territory of Russia, we will. I mean missile strikes, not an invasion. We have nothing to do in the swamps. How has your attitude towards the war changed recently? I have become less sympathetic to those who are fighting against us. Purely human. At first, there was a feeling that people's heads were fooled. But it's been a long time, even the worst head would have already had some thoughts. Therefore, I have sincere respect for those who come over to our side. There are such, and these are not units. I know the units where Russians and Belarusians are fighting. Those who care. These are just those who left their countries, and those who were forcibly mobilized in the fall, and military personnel who saw enough game in their army and realized that he was not on the way with them. That's changed. The attitude towards the war has also changed. Now this is a job that my brothers and I have to do well, conscientiously. For myself and for the guy who is fighting next door. In the spring there were more emotions, more fuss in my actions and decisions, such a strain. Now that's exactly the job. Important and necessary, but work, because no strain is needed. It only harms. Do you have a desire to leave the war zone, leave the army, or even change sides? There is not and never has been. How do you explain to your subordinates what they are fighting for? Oh, we have some cadres who believe in conspiracies and complicate things. This does not prevent them from fighting. Because the unit has a good relationship. You may not like Zelensky or Zelensky, or even believe in the macaroni god, but in battle you fight for your brothers, for those who are next to you. So, those who have no motivation about the war for their native land, they are fighting for each other. In fact, these are units. They have the right to think whatever they want, as long as it does not harm the cause. Has your attitude to the command, to the president of the country changed since February? There is more confidence in the command. You get to know your own commanders better. You see that you are not stupidly thrown a task, but they explain the details, introduce you to the course. This, by the way, is the difference. In the armed forces of the Russian Federation, they say, bring it up, we also had it. Now I hear more and more often, and I myself say exactly about, bring it up to date, that is, explain the task and disassemble it so that the performers understand what they are doing. This increases the chances of success and dramatically reduces losses. And, bring, is just to say, pussy. Those over there to that grove, without details. That's the difference. I didn't think much about the president. He's doing his job, I'm doing mine. Those who are trying to profit from the war, we have such among the politicians, too. If the president deals with them, then my trust will grow even more. Although I still do. If the war ends in defeat for the Russian Federation, what will you do next? If it ends in defeat for Ukraine? And I said in the summer that I would go to my brother in Sevastopol and look at him. I'll look at it for a long time. We won't lose. I am sure. When we win and I look at my relatives in Crimea, I'll talk to them, then I'll get some sleep and think about what to do. I'll stay in the army, probably. This is the end of the news release. Put a like if you liked the issue. Write your opinion in the comments. Subscribe to the channel if you want to continue following our news. See you.